What if there was a safe space for you to explore artificial intelligence? What if there was a team of friendly professionals waiting to help you examine what you can do with AI in your courses? Welcome to the world of what if.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's doing good over in online world. I'm Wendy Wong, and I'm here to talk to you about owlONE, FAU's AI agent. What is an AI agent? An AI agent is a digital assistant that could help you answer questions. It could help students with things. It could do various things. One of the great things about it is that it is restricted. So it only knows what you give it. So your files, your instruction you provided, you could cater it to do what you need it to do. It's very customizable. You could customize it to your class or to your teaching style. Why would you use an AI agent versus a generic AI chat? AI agents actually follow your course rules. Since you could put almost like a wall around it, right? You could restrict what it actually is answering to students, so it stays in bounds. It's sort of like putting bumper lanes, on a bowling alley, right? You always keep going straight, doesn't go and veer off. It has a very long memory, so that just means since it has its own sort of container for the type of information that you put in, you will be able to always just keep chatting with it, and it will always be able to understand that that's the files that it's grabbing the information from. Compared to like when you use a generic chat that sometimes you may upload a file and say, tell me more information about this, it'll forget later on what that file was and you may have to re-upload it again. You would not have to do that with an AI agent. You could publish it to your class in Canvas, or you could, put a link to it really. You could share it in various places and everyone could use it. You could do it. It has a personality, so you could say, hey, be a very strict teacher when you answer, or be like a very helpful tutor. You could gauge how you want that to be. And it helps reduce information, because if you keep using this AI agent, you will always get consistent answers, and they have a right place to go because it's using your content. What is owlONE? Well, owlONE is FAU's AI agent. Think of it as your own AI helper. You could build it quite easily, and you really don't need any coding experience. It follows the instructions that you give it because you're uploading your material, so it will use that. And it's like, a good analogy we have here is it's like your dedicated course librarian, right? When you use a generic AI agent, it's like some people say it's more like a public librarian, right? It knows a lot of things, and it's quite helpful, but it doesn't know your content. An AI agent will know your content. So what does owlONE give you? I keep saying this because it's really cool, right? It's easy. It's no code agent generation. So super, just a couple of instructions, you could just build it. It's secure and private, so it stays in the FAU network. So you could put in your class content, your books, any type of information you want to use, and you will know that this is not being used to train the model. So that means it will not be going outside. This will not show up in somebody's, chat GPT answer somewhere else and not part of FAU. This is just going to be for your agent. It's also quite flexible. owlONE has personal agents, which are sort of like more fast and easy to do. And then you have official agents that could be more complicated and scale up. What owlONE could do, as we said, very similar, obviously, like all agents. It could explain. You could explain topics. You could create questions with it for your chapters. You could also have it create questions for your students. It depends what your audience is going to be. It's quite helpful. It's used a lot to, let's say, help a student study independently, maybe guide them to answers. And like I said, it could answer just questions. You could just use it as a simple agent that just sits there and just answers like, what's my syllabus? What times does class meet? Those types of things. You can build it however you want it to be. Some other use cases from the faculty that we have worked with, what they're using it for are like, course-specific tutoring agents. So the owlONE agent could provide, contextualized tutoring. It could also do assignments and support assignments. So it could help you build assignments, but it could also help support the student with the assignment. Maybe, you give it some guardrails of how it could answer. Administrative support agents. We've seen it used a lot for, let's say, maybe you get this is more like a staff example, but let's say you get a vendor contract and maybe you don't understand it that well. You could use the agent and you feed it to it and be like, hey, does this meet all the FAU rules and regulation? It's quite well at doing things like that. Or you could do research assistance, right? Help you summarize research articles, maybe help you find resources, various things. owlONE has, as I said, two types of AI agents that it really focuses on. Personal agents is the one that we're going to highlight today. They are really easy to set up. They're quick. They have a super simple configuration. You could upload files or websites to build its knowledge base. And, it's great for experimenting. And it's also readily available to anybody that logs into owlONE. Official agents are a little more complex. They could have that one could have extra complex code if you actually want to put it, even though you don't have to. We use it more for departmental or like campus-wide agents, but we could definitely use it as well for, let's say, course agents. If we want to restrict it and only have certain users be able to access it, that's what a role-based agent is. I would say role-based access, so we could restrict it to your class. So anybody that logs in cannot access this agent, but only your class. That's why we say it has advanced configurations. And that one does need help from OIT to set up. So we usually ask for a ticket for those. So now I want to go and actually show you a personal agent in the making. So if you want to follow along, or you could just view online if you want, you could sign in. We could tell the AI agent how to do the job. We'll add the files and we'll test. This one's already logged in for me, but we'll start again in owlONE just easily. Oh, that's fine. You log in with your FAU email and password, just like every other system. And when you're here, you should be presented with this view. There's a chance you could also be presented with the new chat view, whichever one you get. If you go to and you expand and you go over here to agents, explore agents, right, you will see this screen. You could, over here where it says my agent, you would click create and you could put a name. So chat agent, you could call it whatever you want. For this purpose, I will just do this. And here we go. The agent's been created for you. It actually already has a lot of instructions. You could go and you could read through this. You could change it. Like I said, this one says you're a helpful AI assistant, right? You could say, I am an English teacher, a math teacher, algebra. You could change the personality however you want. For purposes here and for this demo, just to make it quick, I'm just going to add the OIT website. And I could say this page contains information about the Office of Information Technology. FAU. Okay. And you could give it an option to search the internet as well, or just stick to the resources that you put. So for this purpose, I did a website. So it's just going to search FAU IT, but I could have said yes, and it could search like Google and other things like that, probably more Bing here because it's Microsoft, or you could add files as well, but just for a fast demo, we'll just do it on the website. And here we go, we said create, and now I have an agent done. Then I could just start asking it whatever I think IT-wise, let's say, right? How do I get an email? It does take a while sometimes for the knowledge base to sort of, propagate through all the pages. So I probably, asked the question way too soon. But as you see now, there we go. That tells you about your FAU email. Like I said, we could do it with websites. We could do it with knowledge. Another thing I'll throw in here is just to show you other agents build. We have one called let's say owlONE Agent Builder for people getting used to it, and you could talk about it, and you could say, how do I build a personal agent? And then, so we have this great agent builder here. I wanted to show this as an example because this is actually an agent builder done with files. So these are all the files that have help of how to use owlONE. So if you don't know how to use owlONE, you could actually ask the agent how to use owlONE. So those are all different purposes, trying to highlight them all. And getting back. I also wanted to highlight that FAU has other AI tools out there for you. And it's really good to be aware that, owlONE is great. I really love it. It's really what we use for AI agent building. But you also could use Gemini just for your regular chats. It also has a deep research feature, similar and probably not as powerful as the one that you have to pay a lot of money for with ChatGPT, but we do have that available. And also Copilot has the same thing. You could use it there for a lot of chats to do like broad searches, research. Both of these also have their own version of an AI builder as well, but they're very small and restrictive, not as robust as owlONE. Something to be aware though of all of these softwares is you need to log in with your FAU account to use them. FAU has actually contracted with both Gemini and Microsoft for these features, which means when you chat with these tools, when using your FAU account, that data is also in its walled garden as well. It will not be used to train the models. So you actually could put FAU information in these chats, but you just have to be, careful that you are signed in. That way, you know that it will not be used to train the model. And that just means that, if you haven't heard that term, I mentioned it before, it's just that stuff that then you put into this chat won't be showing up in someone else's chat outside of FAU, or even in FAU. It won't show up to your coworker's chat because you put something in there as well. So that is one of the things we do like to stress when you're using AI tools. You really need to be careful what you're doing in them and what data you could put in there. The AI site has a great resource there of what tools and what data you could put in them. So next steps, I highly encourage you all to follow along. Go right now after you're done, start a personal agent, start playing with it, share it with your colleagues, share it with your students, see how it works. And then visit, obviously, fau.edu/AI for a lot of information. We have various resources. We'll tell you about the tools we just talked about, what you could use, how to use them. And not least, to teaching with technology. I encourage all faculty, please, to sign up. It's going to be a great showcase. We have Microsoft coming. We have Google coming. There's going to be a lot of hands-on sessions. We're going to have breakout areas where if you need to have a more in-depth talk with the vendor, they will be there available for you. And if you want to actually, present at the Teaching with Technology showcase, submit a proposal. Today's the last day, but, just put some stuff in there and we could, at least put a little small proposal. If you need to build it more, we could always work with you. Thank you, everyone.